Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Today, we're going to look at the idiom, it threw me. It threw me. Now, it's used with the verb to throw, and it's quite an interesting one, this. It basically means that it's something which caused confusion. And some people use it with the preposition off. Oh, it threw me off. So we're going to discuss what that means. Okay, so in order to do that, I need to give you some examples. So here's the first one. When the interviewer asked me about my hobbies instead of my work experience, it threw me off. It means it put me on a different road, which left me a little bit confused. Let's try another one. Moving to a new city without knowing anyone really threw me at first, and it's the same thing. We're not using off here, but we're just saying that it put me out of my usual pathway or out of my usual thought process. It threw me off. Every year, Christmas throws me off because I'm never sure what to buy people, and I just want a normal routine without having to suffer Christmas decorations and these things. Here's another example. Okay. The professor's lecture on quantum physics really threw me, really confused me, really put me off of my usual thinking. I didn't understand. So when something throws you, it usually means that it leaves you a little bit dazed. Maybe the best way to think of it is it's similar to if someone punches you in the face. That leaves you a little bit dazed or confused for a moment. And it's the same idea, okay? It's not always used with understanding things. Illnesses can do it as well. I had COVID a few years ago. That really threw me. British people, we often say, threw me off. And some people even say, threw me for six. Now, I believe that's some kind of a sporting reference. Oh, that really threw me for six. Don't ask me to explain what that means because I don't know. I suspect it's got something to do with baseball. But you hear, oh, that really threw me off. Oh, that really threw me for six. Oh, that really threw me. Okay. Hearing that my favorite restaurant had closed down really threw me last week. My gym changing its opening hours threw me as I had to rearrange my whole morning routine. Yeah, like I ever go to the gym. But anyway, it's a good example. Being asked to lead the project at work threw me. I suppose in this one, it's kind of like saying, really took me by surprise, I suppose. It's the same kind of idea. Trying to use this new software without any training threw me. Traveling to a country with a very different culture from mine threw me at first, but I quickly adapted. Now, these are all in the past tense, as you can hear. So the obvious next question is, can you use them in different tenses? And the answer, of course, is yes. In the present perfect, oh, that's really thrown me off. Yeah. In the future, let's write this document quickly. That'll really throw off the boss if we tell him we've got it done already. Another one might be, let me just think for a moment. That throws me off every time it happens in the in the present. Okay, so just imagine it's like a surprise, or if someone slaps you on the face, you know, that way it leaves you a little bit dazed, a little bit taken aback for a moment. It's kind of like that. And you can use it in a multitude of sentences. You can use it in any way that you want. Okay, so that's today's idiom. To throw you off, to throw you for six. I'm just remembering as well that police dogs, if they're searching for a killer, they sniff the ground, and they could be thrown off the scent by discovering something else, for example. So that's another good example. Of course, there's also a literal version of being thrown off. If you don't pay for your ticket on the metro, the inspector will come and throw you off the metro. Also on the bus, you don't pay the driver, he's going to throw you off. So those are two kind of literal ways that you could use it. And that's it. That's it. Well, as you know, Christmas is coming, and everyone's getting prepared. So today I want to do just a little bit more. I want to just complete another little Christmas task. That's my idea. So I might make some bread, or make some soup, or start work on my pasta sauce, which has to cook for a week before I can use it. As well as that, today I got up and I wrote a poem about the witches of Paisley. Now, this is very interesting. I want to tell you about this. Basically, all across Europe, I'm not sure where you are listening to this, but all across Europe, in the 17th century and before, I think actually maybe the 16th is more accurate to say, all across Western Europe at least, we had a number of witch burnings. Now, these were very innocent women who basically were herbalists. Maybe they were thinking ahead of their time. They tried to heal people by giving them flower remedies and these things. And some of them were just innocent with none of those things. They were just normal people. And somehow or other, they ended up getting accused of witchcraft. And then they were burned at the stake. They were usually hanged first, and then their bodies thrown into fire. I mean, I suppose the most famous ones happened in Salem, Massachusetts, which at that time I think was under British control. Or maybe they had become independent by that time, I don't know. But we had a number of witch burnings, and the last ones to be burned in my town was the last witch burning in Western Europe. 7 witches were burned here, including 2 young boys. I mean, absolutely tragic. So at the weekend, maybe I'll go along to the monument we have on the spot where the witches were burned, and I'll make a little podcast for you. But we've been thinking about this in our town a lot recently, because they're trying to get formal forgiveness from the government for what happened. Now, the church has already apologized for their part in this. The government has apologized, but they're not actually giving pardons. They're not actually giving forgiveness for the women. I mean, I suppose it doesn't matter. It was many, many years ago. But if they offer pardons and forgiveness, it will really be a sign that times have changed. So they've said, sorry, we burned them. And of course, no one's alive that's made those decisions in those days. But it would just be a nice act to try to get those women and men forgiven who were killed for no reason. So I did my part today by writing a little poem about the Witches of Paisley. So that's what I was doing this morning. It's quite complex, so I'm not going to share it with you, but I might write an easier version because, poetry is a very difficult thing for people to understand. And I think creative people like me, we're always just a little bit crazy anyway. So we use different words when we're trying to capture an idea of something. But I will share it with you in the future, maybe when I go along to the Witch's Well, which we have here in my local town. And they've just put up another monument there, which is marking, I think, the government's apology. I don't quite know why they put up another monument, but it's by the local government, I think, just to show that they're interested in this. But it'll be very interesting to see if the central government or if the Scottish government give a full apology for these crimes against humanity. I mean, can you imagine? You wake up one day, you give someone some flowers because they've got a cold, and you tell them to sniff them. Kind of like the medieval version of going to the pharmacy, and suddenly you're arrested and you're banned. You're accused of a witch, accused of being a witch, I should say. And then the next thing you know, you're tied to a pole with people lighting flames around you. Isn't that awful? But that did happen here, and many, many people were killed in the witchcraft trials. Not only women, but men as well. So it's important that I think that's recognized. So everyone's talking and thinking about that here. So that's the news from my town. And that's it. So I'll see you all again soon. I hope you've enjoyed this, and let's talk again soon. See you. Bye.